Hi, I'm Larry London. This is Border Crossings, and today I'm joined by a group of singers from Minnesota known as Field Report. Formed over 10 years ago by Chris Porterfield and his friends, including Justin Vernon from Bon Iver, the group is known as Field Report. In 2012, Field Report released their self-titled debut CD, and currently they are on tour for the new CD, Summertime Songs. Drawing inspiration from artists like Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, and Paul Simon, Chris Porterfield says he does most of the band's writing. All of the songs written on the new album were created before the 2016 presidential election and while Chris's wife was expecting their first child. He says the album is filled with fragility and personal struggles. Stay tuned for Field Report, coming up on today's Border Crossings. Hi, I'm Larry London. Welcome to Border Crossings. On tour right now for their brand new album, which is called Summertime Songs. Field Report are on tour, and they're here in Washington, D.C., and we're very fortunate to have the voice of Field Report in our studios. We welcome Chris Porterfield. Nice to have you.
Thank you, Larry. Good to be here.
So tell me about Field Report. First of all, what's the meaning behind that name?
Well, band names are really tricky. And in the internet age especially, they've all been taken. Even if it's somebody, with no intention of ever forming a project, like somebody squatting in that Twitter handle. So Field Report, you mentioned my last name is Porterfield. It's an anagram of my last name.
Aha.
I lucked out. I was born into this name that has a lot of nice vowels and consonants that can be rearranged in useful ways. So Field Report became the name of this project when I retire or go solo. I think Retired Flop is one of them. It's close to that, or there's another one. Elder Prophet, I think, is one. So maybe that'll be like, turn 50 solo record,
I like that.
Yeah.
And your influences come from Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, things like that?
Yeah. It's a songwriter-centric project. And so we definitely kind of traffic in those idioms. Yeah, but we also take that and kind of dress it up with some other modern sounds too, with synthesizers and drum machines and things. Although today it's just going to be me and the guitar just doing the folky thing.
Yeah, and the truth for the audience is that the rest of the band is circling the building right now, looking for parking.
We called them off. We sent them straight to the show, so I'm going to meet up with them there. But we had intentions of bringing the whole thing in here and. Technicolor, 3D, whatever.
That would have been nice to have. So maybe next time when you guys are in town.
When we come back. When you and I have such a good time that you invite us back.
There you go.
Yeah.
So tell me, this has got to be unusual for you to do just an acoustic solo thing. This is probably, maybe you are used to this, maybe not.
The solo thing and the band thing, I love them both for different reasons, and they both inform the other one. And ultimately, I'm just sort of in search of and service of songs and moments, And the band thing emphasizes and amplifies different corners of the songs, and the solo thing does the same, but it's, the other side of the coin. And so it's a really good way to just climb into the work and sort of discover your own work, too, and see what works and what doesn't. But they inform each other, and I really like doing both.
Is this album, the new album, Summer Songs, different than the previous albums? This is album number...
This is our third record.
Third record.
Yeah, this is the third Field Report record. It is a little different. The first two were probably a little bit more, brooding, or so. They were a little bit more inside, insular, me and whatever. And this is a little bit more outward looking. There's a little more. There are more narrators in this record than just myself. There was an opportunity to have a little bit more empathy and sympathy for other people's stories. And also just the way that we made this record. We took a lot of time on it. And so rather than have it be like a snapshot, this was more of a film. And so we used the recording studio in a lot of ways to really sort of highlight some of the details in the songs, or use lighting to set a mood. Like it really is... You can treat records like, a number of different ways. You could treat it like like a one-act play, or it's like a one-man show on Broadway. And it is what it is, no production value or anything like that.
Right.
And that's just a moment that happens that you climb into and can and find relatable. And then there are huge expensive films that take staff of hundreds of people,
Right.
and
Big
gaffers and lighting and makeup and costumes and 3D whatever, And so this one was more of like a sort of a movie production.
Whoa.
Rather than
You went big, huh?
We did kind of go big.
All right.
We did kind of go big, but still at the core of it is just, folk songs telling stories. But we used a lot of cameras to do it, so to speak, I guess,
Are you the principal songwriter for the band? Are you the only songwriter, or just you?
Yep.
So how has the songwriting changed over the years from the first album to the third album?
I think the more you do it, the better you get at it. And the closer you can get to some kind of truth. Sometimes the muse visits, and then when the muse doesn't show up, that's when the craft kicks in. And so you got to just keep churning them out. And they can be lousy and still have value because they get you to the next one. And you can't go from a real bad early one to a good later one without all these ones in between. And so they still serve a purpose. And so you just got to keep churning them out. And occasionally you get lucky and get a good one. So just kind of getting better and working in the form of song, I think, which is a fascinating form to work in, because you can have a song that is approaching some kind of shared truth or knowledge, spoken or not, but it doesn't have to be true. It can be a work of fiction and still be true.
Exactly.
Which is something that you can't get away with as a journalist, or
Right.
So it's a totally different kind of form, and also you're in and you're out 3, 4, 5 minutes tops. You don't have to slave away for like 600 pages and send drafts or whatever. It's just a really neat, concise way to frame an idea and to convey it too.
That's excellent. And I know every listener who hears a song hears it differently and takes something different out of the song.
Absolutely. And that's the incredible thing about songs, is because songs don't change. Like they can. Recordings of songs don't change, but our relationship with them can. And depending on where you're at in your life, suddenly this song, and you're in orbit around it, you see a different part of it, or it's lit up some different way, or you experience it differently. So we change. The work doesn't change, but our relationship with the work does. It's really cool.
Fascinating.
Songs live forever.
Yes, they do.
As long as there's civilization, this music will exist to be discovered by someone somewhere.
And it's out, according to the scientists, it's out there, out wherever that is, and in space.
Right.
So people can hear it out there.
Totally. Yeah. It's just,
you could have 1 billion more fans that you didn't even know you had floating around somewhere on another planet.
I'll take them, man.
We're talking to Christopher Porterfield. Field Report is the name of the band, and Summer Songs is the album. If you wouldn't mind doing a song for us, we'd love to hear something live.
All right, Larry, this is the first single off of the Field Report record, Summertime Songs, and it is called Never Look Back.
All right.
If one of us is the ocean, and if one of us is the moon, haven't found the pattern yet, figured who's been pulling whom. Turn the telescope back around, get these troubles out of view. Forgiveness does not excuse, it's just to prevent all the others from destroying you. Never turn around to the back, never turn around to the back, never turn around to the back, never turn around to the back. Before the matter was settled, before there was a name for this, you were out dancing in traffic, near miss. You thought you had pulled it off, but everybody knew all along And if they ain't picking up what you're throwing down, well, at least you gave them something to talk about. Never turn around to look back. 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 Cut my hair with your pocket knife. I trust you with my eyes closed. I just need you to try. I don't need you to know. 'Cause I've earned what I've been growing. I'm all about the day when we cut it all off and we throw it all away. Forgiveness does not excuse. It's just to prevent all the others from destroying you. Never turn around to look back. 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 Never turn around, never turn around, never turn around. Never turn around to look back. Never turn around to look back.
Wow, sounding great. Sounding great.
Thank you.
Yeah, Field Report on tour right now. Summertime Songs, the name of the album, third album out for the gang. And so I guess Milwaukee, Wisconsin plays a big role in the songs for this album?
Yeah, that's where we're based out of. That's where I've lived for the last 11 years. And we made it there at a studio in Milwaukee called Wire and Vice with a producer named Daniel Holter. And he and I just spent most days together, just in the studio working on what would become this record. And this is the first one that we've done in Milwaukee. The last one we went up to Canada in the middle of nowhere and worked for a few weeks. And we wanted to do it a little closer to home this time around. My wife and I were expecting our first child over the course of making this record. And so it was important for me to be a little closer to home for a while. And so we made it in Milwaukee. And yeah, there's a lot of Milwaukee stories in there. Maybe not like on the nose exactly, like clearly definable, but a lot of people, in those songs are stories from people living in Milwaukee.
Real people in real place?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, and I would never have thought you'd find 12 songs about Milwaukee, but I guess you managed to do that. I guess
sure.
Home inspired you in one way or another. So, had a baby this year, within the last 12 months. Tell me about how having a child, now becoming a father, has changed your perspective on music, what you do. Maybe your songwriting is different today. Maybe you're going to write a song about your baby.
Yeah, it changes everything. Babies are and people in general, I guess, when you let them into your life, they end up changing you one way or the other. But yeah, my daughter's a year and a half old now, and when I'm not on the road, I'm a stay-at-home dad. And in fact, this is the first tour that we've been out on since she was born. So
you're missing her, I bet.
Yeah, we're a few weeks deep, and it's a different thing than we've been used to, for sure. Yeah, I miss her a lot. But yeah, I think that one of the main things that's changed as far as my work and sort of worldview is I find myself more interested in coming up with, I don't know, solutions to some of the things that we face as a civilization, rather than throw my hands up, nothing will ever change. We can't fix anything.
That's the Washington way.
Yeah. But I'm more interested in like the slow progress towards something to make her world better, and rather than just, I wash my hands of all this. It's like, no, actually, I'm more invested. Because it's bigger than me. It's her too.
What's her name?
Her name is Jane.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
So are you writing anything for Jane, about Jane? Any songs in your head coming up that are going to be inspired by your daughter?
I don't know. I had to make a pact with another songwriter friend of mine. He was expecting with his wife and around the same time, and we had to promise each other that we weren't going to write butterfly kisses or anything like that. Or if you do, it's okay, but keep it in the nursery. The audiences that we've cultivated don't want to hear that.
Now I'm going to ask you, how is the show, when people go to see Field Report, different than what we're seeing today?
There are more people on stage playing more things, and it's much louder. And it's usually at... I'm probably a little more warmed up too, singing wise. There's just more sound going on. We're very interested in sound design and creating sonic environments, and using those to, dramatic or emotional effect. We've got synthesizers and drum machines and acoustic and electronic drums and all kinds of things.
And how is Field Report connected to Bon Iver?
Justin Vernon, who fronts that project, he and I went to college together, and we were in a band together in college, and lived together and stay in touch. And actually Tom Winsek plays keyboards in Field Report. He plays in another band with Justin too. So we're all kind of just part of the same Wisconsin
vibe,
beard guy vibe.
So tell me, if you could describe your music. I mean, because I hate to put labels on things, but that's kind of how the industry works.
That's how we.
Are you alternative rock? Are you folk rock? What do you?
Yeah, I guess it's folk rock. I guess it's folk rock because the bones of the things always kind of start this way. This is how the genesis of the songs is, and then we dress them up. We delve into some more experimental improvisatory sort of. My rhythm section is very jazz leaning, and in fact, the two of them and I also have an all improvised trio that has a residency in Milwaukee on the regular when we're home. So we have a lot of varied interests, but I'd say folk rock is a good place to start. And then people we use a lot of flavors from like Peter Gabriel. People use some Peter Gabriel stuff and some of the flavors
that's great
of the sounds. What did we get today? We did a radio thing in wherever we were before this. Somebody said it was like Tangerine Dream, which is like sort of German krautrock, like psych stuff, and there's elements of that too.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you take us on a journey.
Yeah,
musically,
which is probably a detriment to our career because nobody can be like, these guys sound like this.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you have to kind of force feed it to everybody, and sure enough, there's a flavor that you like, but you don't know until you're like, I don't know if I. Oh yeah, I like this.
How's the tour going?
It's going really well.
Yeah,
it's going really well. We're a couple weeks out. After this, we start heading back toward home. So we're sort of beginning the downhill portion.
Is this an international tour, or?
We're trying to be really intentional about being away from home now that we've all got family commitments and things. So we're trying to do things very strategically, a couple weeks at a time. So, so this was just a Northeast and Mid-Atlantic sort of thing. And then we'll head back to Milwaukee, and we'll do some West Coast stuff, and then we'll come back out here again and just sort of back and forth. But no 3-month put a map on the dartboard and throw it. It's like we're trying to be really intentional about it and make sure we get home too.
Yep, there you go. Christopher Porterfield's with us, and Field Report's the name of the band. Would you do another song?
Yeah, I'd love to. This is kind of a this is a song. In fact, we were talking to a radio guy today, and he was like talking about maybe a second single, and he's like, "Oh, I really like this one." and he didn't realize that it didn't have a chorus or anything. Like this is like, so this song is called "Summertime," and it's sort of the basis of the title. It's not quite the titular track, but part of it was seeing what we could get away with and still call it a summertime song. So it's a chorusless sort of narrative about being nervous about being a father, possibly about some alcoholism issues, and also just like there's a lot going on, and it's sort of a tongue-in-cheek summertime song. But I'll do this song, and whatever. It's your audience can decide if they're into it or not. And the production on the record is far out, so this is going to be different. She said, "Why don't you try summertime songs? Golden warm, soft like the setting sun. Not hot and sharp like a hornet's swarm, or the warning blast from a tornado horn, or June bugs hissing July in half. Said, I love you in the low air, baby, but let's dance. I don't know. You didn't have to stop, babe, but I could never hang. The good days come in waves, they crest and crash. See, I've been running hot, babe, something's gonna give. I've been sleeping out, babe, dreaming about the kid. I've been hearing shots, babe, I know they're in my head. I've been feeling ghosts, babe, moving in the wind. And if I should disappear sometime before this child is born, what is recovery really but cover up your tracks again? And in the neighbor's window across the street, you can see the TV through the fitted red sheet. And the other night, I heard him screaming. I turned off our lights and called the police and hid on the corner of the front porch waiting. And as quiet as a gas leak, I slowed my breathing. Just singing summertime songs, summertime songs. Just singing summertime songs, summertime songs, summertime.
Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Very personal, very deep, too. Christopher Porterfield's our guest. Field Report's the name of the band. And I would venture to say that song's a little autobiographical? I read somewhere you kind of struggled with some alcohol issues.
Yeah. That one is pretty on the nose. That one is me. That's weird. I don't ever play that solo. That's usually kind of like a banging sort of big part of the show. So I don't even, yeah.
Wow. But I tell you, that it's got a great feel that way too.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, that one was just sort of, anxiety before a big life change and being unsure if you're going to be able to, subvert your own selfishness for the benefit of somebody else. But what do they say about worry? Worry is something about oh boy, somebody just told me this the other day, and it's a real good one. Something about worrying is just praying for the things you don't want to happen. And so if you don't do that, if you try not to worry, like you actually, you're not working against yourself in that way. Anyway, it's something like that. I thought it was kind of lovely. But yeah, man, I mean, we're never ready for anything.
Are you okay? Is everything all right?
I'm good.
You're good
great.
Now? You're good?
I'm really good.
Good.
I've never been better.
Because that's good. I mean, it seems like what was once a very private, personal struggle has now come to the forefront of our social consciousness. And it's important that people like yourself who have a platform and have a stage and have an audience can deliver that message to say, hey, it's okay to have a struggle. And we're in it together.
Absolutely.
And I bet you people come up to you and say, your song, this song on this album helped me through my personal issue.
Absolutely. And that, I'm really glad that you said that, because that's a beautiful and powerful thing. And these songs, they are at one point or another helpful and valuable and useful for me, but the hope is that somebody else can also find them helpful or valuable or useful or at least interesting and entertaining. But songs are, in a lot of ways, are sort of like shells, and we're all little hermit crabs. And as we grow, we need to shed some of those things and find a new one. And if somebody can, be clipping along on the beach and climb into one of my shells and find that a safe, comfortable place to be for a time, that's like the greatest reward that an artist could ever have.
That's fantastic. Well, I mean, it's been a pleasure to have you in the studio and to hear your music, and I appreciate that you did this for us like this, because I know this is out of your element. This is not normally what you're used to doing, the way you're used to doing it.
Right.
But I do appreciate you doing this and sharing your music with us. And I know we've got about a few minutes left for one more song.
Sure.
And what is the year ahead for you guys? Field Report. I mean, more touring, but then. And you're very selective with the dates and you want to spend time with the family, but, what do you envision for the year ahead? Are you going to write some more songs? Next album is already in your head? A songwriter's always thinking of things.
Yeah. You kind of always have to have a pile working behind you, because you never know when you're going to need them. But, yeah, we're going to start working on another record. We want to continue to tour on this one. And we're hoping that this record will bring us to a wide range of your viewers, not just folks in the U.S., but I know we've got some plans to get over to the UK and probably some other European stuff and beyond. Who knows? But yeah, we're just excited to get out and continue to find our audience and do it together.
Have you done a lot of international touring in the past?
We've done some, yeah.
What do you think about the audiences there versus here? Because they're very curious internationally to know what our American audience is like. And what does a band think of performing out of the country? What is it like? Yeah,
to be honest with you, we've found audiences outside of the U.S. to generally be even more attentive and well behaved and lovely to perform for, and it's been great.
They do pay very close attention to the lyrics, especially when it's in a second language.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, but thank you so much for coming in. What are you going to do for us next?
My pleasure. It's a great question. What are we going to do next? Why don't we'll do a song called "If I Knew."
What's this one about?
Well,
if I knew.
If I knew. Yeah, right. This one is about Boy, it's about some of the same themes we've been talking about already.
Milwaukee.
I seem to have a wheelhouse. Milwaukee and drinking too much.
There you go.
But
Let's go drinking in Milwaukee.
yeah, right. Well, that's the trouble. It's everybody does it.
It's a great
Gets us
place
into
to be
trouble.
for drinking.
It is, and it can be a harder place for trying to not drink.
Yes.
So this is a little bit about both of those things. When we lit up and left, how the smoke, it must have plumed. It billowed to the clouds and back, white, gray, and black, while the morning bloomed. And how we tell it now depends on who we're lying to. We ate the fruit, learned the truth, and spit the pits in the corner of the room. And if I knew what I know, so far yet to go. And if I knew what I know, so far yet to go. You were bouncing off the guardrail, shouting at the wind. We were off our meds, drinking again. We played them like a stolen violin. I knew my outlines and my ends. I waited for something to kick in. They could not understand. They were embarrassed by sincerity back then. If I knew what I know, so far yet to go. If I knew what I know, so far yet to go. In a flash I was wearing every one of your brand new tattoos. And I took off my shirt like East Moline and read upside down what you've been up to. Then a car crashed through the wall, and there you were in the room. Blood-red blood bled out to your outline, and it colored you in. You were close enough to cough on. Your breath smelled like creme de menthe. Headstones, dial tones, you said, "Hey man, where you been?" And if I knew what I know, so far yet to go. And if I knew what I know, so far yet to go. And if I knew what I know, so far yet to go.
Great, great, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chris Porterfield, it's a Field Report. And so where can people go to get the album and find out your tour schedule? What are your websites, your social media?
Yeah. Fieldreportmusic.com is kind of the hub for all things Field Report. You can find us on Twitter at Field Report or on Instagram at Field Report Music. Just go to the website, and you can go everywhere else you need to go from there.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. This has been really nice doing this with you.
Great to meet you and to hear you perform live, acoustic.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear the show, the actual show.
Right on.
And listen to the whole album. So thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Field Report is the name of the band, and it's Summertime Songs. My name's Larry London, and this is Border Crossings.